Good evening, I'm Shawn Yao.
And I'm Gretchen Ho.
The big stories tonight. The Customs Bureau is wondering where the rest of the Discaya's luxury cars are following a search in one of their properties. The controversial contractors have offered an explanation.
At the House's probe on flood control projects, a motion for full disclosure of business interests and insertions in the past national budget fetched a heated back and forth among congressmen.
And Senator Imee has vowed to block Justice Secretary Boying Remulla's bid to become Ombudsman and will go as far as to convince the Judicial and Bar Council to oppose it.
Wala ho kaming illegal na itinatago na yung mga sasakyan na nabanggit doon sa Senate hearing. Yan po ay dumaan sa tamang proseso.
Wala naman po silang pangamba na ito ay smuggle talaga at sila nag-smuggle, mas makakabuti po sa kanila na isurrender yan.
The Bureau of Customs raided one of the Discaya family's construction companies in search for 12 of their luxury vehicles. However, BOC personnel were only able to find 2 expensive cars.
But the Discayas claim the vehicles have not been hidden nor missing. The controversial contractors also insisted that all their properties have been acquired through legal means. Mon Galvez with the big story tonight.
One by one, Bureau of Customs personnel cordoned and sealed off these 3 luxury vehicles inside St. Gerard Construction's office in Pasig. The BOC wants to check if controversial contractors Curly and Sara Discaya acquired these imported vehicles legally and whether or not proper taxes were paid for these expensive things under the Customs Modernization Tariff Act. 2 of the vehicles inside the couple's compound matched those identified in the BOC search warrant.
Kung mapapakita naman nila na talagang sila ay buyers in good faith, meaning binili lang nila ito sa isang dealer or ahente, doon naman kami pupunta upang doon namin kuhanin ang mga tamang dokumento na dapat magpapatunay na tama ang kanilang pinagbayaran sa ating gobyerno.
Recall that former Pasig mayoral candidate Sara Discaya admitted owning 28 luxury cars during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee's hearing on flood control projects on September 1st. According to Customs Commissioner Ariel Nepomuceno, they have been trying to serve the search warrant since Monday night. But security in the private property got in the way. The BOC appeals to the Discayas to just turn over the 10 other luxury vehicles in the warrant and prove that these have been obtained legally.
Kung wala naman po silang pangamba na ito ay smuggle talaga at sila nag-smuggle, mas makakabuti po sa kanila na isurrender yan kasi maobliga po kami na mag-search warrant sa bawat bahay po nila, sa bawat opisina po nila. Mas masakit po sa ulo yun.
The BOC chief also had a warning for the missing vehicles. In a statement, Nepomuceno said they are taking the issue of the missing luxury cars of the Discayas with utmost seriousness. The customs chief added, quote, "Let it be clear, those hiding or abetting the concealment of these cars will be punished to the fullest extent of the law." The PNP Highway Patrol Group has raised the alarm on all 12 vehicles in the BOC's list. Meantime, during our stay in the compound, we noticed luxury vehicles going in and out. There's an armored van inside and DPWH orange barriers. Neighbors who refused to face the cameras claimed used to be that the Discayas' luxury vehicles could be seen from outside the gate. But now, the gate has been blocked from view and security has been tightened. For their part, the Discaya camp was surprised by the BOC's inspection. A spokesperson for the family said everything the family owns was acquired through legal means.
Wala ho kaming illegal na itinatago. Yung mga sasakyan na nabanggit doon sa Senate hearing kahapon, yan po ay dumaan sa tamang proseso. Binili po sa mga legitimate car dealers, 3 po yan.
Samaniego also explained why the Customs Bureau did not find the rest of the luxury cars.
Yung iba ho kasi under preventive maintenance, yung iba ginagamit, saka yung medyo mabababa, inilipat to sa mataas na lugar, gawa ng, nung nakaraan po kasi nagbabaha, itong nakaraan So, precautionary measures. Ang sabi ng kliyente ko kanina sa telepono, binigyan daw sila ng 10 araw para mag-comply, para i-present nila yung mga dokumento ng sasakyan. We will comply po.
The BOC clarifies they are not singling out the Discayas. The Bureau promises inspection of properties of other contractors being tagged in questionable flood control projects as well. For News 5, Mon Gualvez, we are One News.
60 days, that's how long new Public Works Secretary Vince Dizon is giving himself to reorganize the agency from its highest officials down to district engineers. This is in line with President Bongbong Marcos's directive to clean up the DPWH. Dizon made the commitment during the official turnover ceremony at the DPWH headquarters today. It was also the first meeting between Dizon and its predecessor, resigned DPWH Chief Manny Bonoan. Dizon also vowed to enforce strict contractor compliance and strengthen oversight within the agency to prevent irregularities. The new DPWH chief said he is inclined to abolish the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Committee formed by Bonoan. It was supposed to investigate anomalies that allegedly involved the department's officials and employees.
It is a difficult process, but it is a necessary process. Sometimes it requires a seismic event, to use the language, no? To force that institution to evolve. Titignan po natin kung ano yung mga red flag na yan, kung kakailanganin pong baguhin, tanggalin, o kung ano man ang kailangan gawin. Kasama po yan sa proseso. No?
Bonoan, on the other hand, said in his message that he is leaving with a full heart.
I leave this post with a full heart, with enduring hope and respect for the department. Mabuhay ang DPWH, mabuhay ang ating bagong Secretary ng Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Vince Dizon.
Changing of the guard over at the DPWH, 60 days. And natuwa ako kasi kanina, nanonood ako nung House of Representatives TRICOM hearing on flood control. And nandun nga si Secretary Bonoan, and then he said he was gonna go to turn over to Vince Dizon. Pero yung mga iba niyang USEC nandun pa, ginigrill, like si USEC Cathy Cabral, and she said, hindi pa ako nakakapag-turn in ang resignation ko kasi nandito ako today. Anong takeaway mo from the hearing?
Well, kanina kasi pinakikinggan ko si Vince Dizon noong umaga naman, and he said that he is leaving with a heavy heart. Leaving DOTR. Baliktad naman, no? Kasi napamahal siya sa DOTR. And it seems that his task is to clean the agency, means a lot of heads will roll from what's been happening. But what struck me was that he was getting advice from former DPWH Secretary Babe Singson, who was rumored to have been offered the position. At least may guidance siya dun sa ins and outs of the DPWH. So mukhang there will be internal purging.
He has been clear, no? I mean, he has gone on some media interviews and said, ito yung ginawa namin, ito yung patakaran namin dati. So I guess meron siyang mga tips nga for now, DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon. But a lot of people are also asking, ano namang gyayari sa DOTR? Kasi napamahal na yung mga tao.
So si Giovanni Lopez na acting secretary niya, yun daw yung nagbibigay ng comfort sa kanya kasi he is the best person to take over the role. So may continuity naman. But nakausap ko rin this morning si Heidi Mendoza. And I like that she gave a different perspective to this, that she also kind of called for internal purging within COA before beginning the audit. So, dalawa palang audit nyo, no? Meron palang yung performance audit, which is the order now for COA to do, and the other is a fraud audit. Sabi niya, dapat isabay yan. Pero bago gawin yan, kailangan muna mag-courtesy resignation din sana yung mga auditors. Dahil kung titignan mo lahat ng proyekto ulit, malamang sila yung mape-pressure.
At saka, yun nga sinasabi na rin, no, meron na ring accusations against the COA auditor saying they're in on it. Meron na ring figures na sinasabi on how much they take
Actually,
home.
kinonfirm ni Heidi Mendoza kanina. Meron
0.5
talaga.
to 1%.
Oh, yun.
Pero sabi naman niya, no, we did interview her last week, and she said, hindi naman lahat. But, you know,
Yun din
there's
nasabi
always
ni
bad
Secretary
apples.
Babe Singson. No? Hindi naman lahat. So, huwag natin lahatin. Ayun nga lang, the process to getting there, actually figuring out who are the bad apples.
But it remains to be seen,
That's very
Gretch,
difficult to do.
what they're gonna do. Again, wala namang bago dito sa mga calls. And like everyone has said, this is an open secret na alam nila. Ito yung mga patakaran pagdating sa procurement, sa bidding.
I love that they started the House hearing by acknowledging that there were conflicts of interest within the House itself, di ba? So mag-declare muna.
Actually, pansin mo, when they start, when some of the lawmakers start their, kunyari, time na nila, they'll say, wala akong kinalaman dyan. Yun yung unang disclaimer na ilalabas nila. But ito, isa pang mainit na issue that hit us this week. Leyte 4th District Representative Richard Gomez has finally apologized after sharing the names and contact details of media members who sought his side on local flood control project allegations. Gomez faced backlash after media groups and netizens criticized him for endangering journalists by sharing their information online. The controversy stemmed from claims by Mayor Matag-Ob Leyte Mayor Bernie Tacoy, who accused Gomez of failing to coordinate flood control projects. The congressman had provided a reply to news organizations but requested not to be quoted. Last week, he posted screenshots of messages with media practitioners without blurring names or contacts. Several media organizations, including the NUJP, condemned his actions, noting reporters' requests were meant to give him a chance to respond. The sensitive information had been removed earlier today, but his accusation of a media spin remains.
To the members of the press who took offense in my social media post, I sincerely apologize. Sensitive information has been removed. I understand that the media endeavored to get my side of the story. I acknowledge your efforts. I'm sorry, and I could have handled it better.
Very humble posture from the congressman. It's always much appreciated. I mean, having the courage to send out an apology, we don't get that all the time. Diba?
You're right. No? Sobrang appreciated yung apology, pero whether or not people will forget and media members will forget this, yun yung medyo mahirap.
I guess, medyo nadala din ng emosyon si congressman dahil pinabati kasi siya nun left and right, and such is the challenge nowadays with social media and the continuous barrage of comments and
we've just been talking about, like, off camera, how we have to control and edit ourselves over and over again, diba? So we encourage everyone to do that. May tawag dun si AFP spokesperson, naalala mo, cyber hygiene.
Ay,
naalala ko yung term niya ni Colonel, sabi niya, Colonel Padilla, sabi niya, you have to practice cyber hygiene. Hindi lang yun nga, like not leaving your numbers everywhere, personal information, but also thinking before you post, because a post is forever.
That's our lesson for today.
Yeah.
In the meantime, we're going to take a quick break, but coming right up, House members turn on each other as they probe questionable flood control projects. Find out why when the big story returns. Keep it here.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story. The first hearing of the House Infrastructure Committee on anomalous flood control projects kicked off with fireworks. Not from revelations by invited resource persons, but from heated exchanges from legislators themselves. News 5's Marian Enriquez with that story.
The House Infrastructure Committee was supposed to grill contractors and resource persons from the DPWH about flood control projects on Tuesday. But as soon as the inquiry began, lawmakers found themselves butting heads with each other, stalling the hearing at least 4 times. The first back and forth ensued when Akbayan Party List Representative Shawn Yao sought to ensure that no lawmaker has any conflict of interest with the hearing. Yao's motion was seconded by ML Party List Representative Leila de Lima.
The motion, Mr. Chair, for all the members of the 3 committees to make a full disclosure of their financial, business, and pecuniary interests that may be directly or indirectly affected by any investigation into the government's past or present flood control project.
When the House of Representatives investigates anomalies in flood control projects, we must ask, is it wise? Is it prudent? Is it proper for this chamber to investigate itself when there are already reports that some members here may be involved in these very projects?
Despite reservations from other lawmakers, Yao's motion was eventually carried. The committee gave its members 5 days to submit a written disclosure of any conflict of interest they may have. The second hurdle came when Caloocan Representative Egay Arize moved to invite former House Appropriations Chairman Zaldico and former Senate Finance Committee Chair Grace Poe to the inquiry. Both were in charge of the Bicameral Conference Committee, where insertions in the 2025 budget were allegedly made.
Sapagkat yung mismong pagpoproseso ng mga insertions na ito ay nanggaling sa mga tanggapan.
Wala akong narinig na denial man lang sa previous chairman o sa previous members ng committee. Does this mean na hindi nila kaya i-dispute yung sinabi ko na 2025 budget is the most corrupt budget ever passed in the history of Congress? So I second that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Members of the majority then tried to block Arize's motion.
I am objecting on the motion. Chairman, I would like to know the reason why, because I would like to find out if we're going to invite them here, are they resource speakers or they are members of the House of Representatives? Are we going to ask them questions? Are they going to answer it?
The focus of our investigation is to nip the bud, putulin ang ugat para hindi na ulit tumubo. And with that, Mr. Chair, let's move forward to the interpellators that have signified their intention to ask questions.
At this point, Garina and Navotas Congressman Toby Chanco started bickering.
Sabi nyo kanina, kahit sino masagasaan, wala tayong sasantuhin, kahit congressman, kahit senador. So, paano tayo mag-iimbestiga? Paano nagkaroon ng insert? Under the name of Congressman Saldico, ang insertion sa BICAM as proponent siya is 13,803,693,000. And we do not want to invite him as a resource person.
Mr. Chair, sorry.
Comsec, can you show this? Para lang sabihin, hindi ako
Mr. Chair, with due courtesy.
Wait, I have the floor.
Yeah,
I have the floor.
Yeah,
I have the floor.
No, Mr. Chair.
I have the floor.
Just to, on the
I have the floor.
On the record, Mr. Chair.
I have the floor.
We did not refuse to
I
invite.
have the floor.
Motion to suspend.
The hearing was then suspended, and when it resumed, Congressman Arize decided to defer his motion. As the hearing finally took off, lawmakers questioned relieved Bulacan 1st District Engineer Henry Alcantara on the questionable projects inspected by President Bongbong Marcos. Here, Alcantara admitted something.
Ngayon, ang tanong, Engineer, kayo po ba ang nag-propose ng mga projects na ito na may isama sa NEP? Pakisagot lang po. Kayo po ba ang nag-propose ng mga projects na ito para may sali doon sa NEP ng district office nyo?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, walang politiko na involved dito. Kayo po ang nag-propose na ito.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's very clear. Now,
Alcantara also admitted to lapses on his part in the inspection of projects in Bulacan. The president himself lamented incomplete and ghost multi-million structures fully paid for by the government.
Do you believe you are responsible for that? The ghost project na sinabi ng presidente, yung mga kakulangan sa mga materyales, sa kakulangan ng mga delivery ng supply ng materials, do you believe you are responsible for that?
Yes, Your Honor. Negligence on my part. Inamin ko po may kakulangan ako dahil I did not personally go to it.
The House Infracom invited 16 government contractors of flood control projects, but only 11 were present. Those who skipped the hearing included businesswoman Sara Disgaya. The committee has issued subpoenas to these contractors who snubbed Tuesday's inquiry. For News 5, I'm Marian Enriquez. We are One News.
Flooding has indeed gotten worse. Here in the capital, areas that used to be flood-free are now getting inundated. There are those who attribute it to record rainfall, others to poor waste management, and now to corruption-laden flood control projects. Can flooding be controlled or stopped even? Joining us tonight to weigh in on that question, we have urban planner Paulo Alcazaren. Good evening. Welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, Gretchen, Sean.
Okay. Sir, alam ko po itong topic na ito ay matagal niyo na pong pinag-uusapan. I mean, if you Google your name, it's all over flood control. You weighed in on this. But I think this is the first time that we are looking extensively into the flood control projects, the actual infrastructure. When you're tuning in, what comes to mind? I mean, marami pa kaya tayong kayang ayusin? Gawa ng marami na pong ghost project, marami pong dysfunctional. What is your assessment?
Well, marami talagang kailangang ayusin, but we should question the solution that's being preferred by the DPWH, which is all gray revetments and dikes and levees. And this addresses only one aspect of the flooding problem. And the bigger question is, are all of these projects based on a stormwater management or flood control management master plan? And often, and I travel all around the country, I see sections of dikes and levees, and it's just sections of it on a very large and long riverway. Of course, obviously, hindi uubra to. And I spoke to officials of the DENR, and they're also of the opinion that these interventions do not work to control floods. And in fact, a lot of them, all they do is to channel the water faster down to the lower levels kung nasan yung mga bayan at sud natin.
You know what boggles me about all of this, Paolo, is, and actually I saw a post that you made on Facebook. It was an illustration of some sort of ridge to reef kind of solution to addressing this. And because a few weeks ago we had Dr. Rex Cruz from UP Los Baños, and we were talking just about exactly that topic. And kung meron man pala tayong resource from the government itself, we have all this data, we have all this research. Based on yung pag-iikot mo and talking to LGUs, why does no one even bother to tap this?
Oh, it's a problem of isolation of functions of LGUs versus provinces versus regions. So with the autonomy that LGUs have, a lot of the addressing of problems is localized, but the problem of flooding cannot be solved within the political confines of an LGU, the spatial confines and boundaries ng LGU. No? Flood waters will not stop from one LGU to the next. And the real reason of the problem is that the flood water from the uplands goes down the hills and mountains, and this crosses LGU, provincial, even regional boundaries. And as an example, I went to a conference one trying to address a problem in a river, and all the solutions were focused on levees, dredging, and gray infrastructure. And there were two of us from the UP, and we told them that the problem is yung sa uplands nyo, dinudad na yung ano, all of the water is coming down, all of the soil is washing down to and silting up the river. And they said, wala po kaming magagawa dahil iba ng LGU yun. And that is the crux of the problem.
I think what you're talking about is the main river basins, right? So based on that plan, we do have, I think, 18 major watersheds or river basins. And former DPWH Secretary Bonoan, I should say, he said na there is a 50-year-old flood master plan that works around these river basins as opposed to regional and local divides. Of course, nobody has acted on that, but the question is, I suppose, is it too late to like revisit that and address the problem from that kind of perspective, na parang by river basin in a national way?
Yeah, but that 50-year-old plan is 50 years old, and the thinking has now changed from reliance on all gray infrastructure, which is a lot of concrete or sheet piling on levees and such, to NBS, which is nature-based solutions. That means we have to focus on reforestation, in green bioengineering. In Japan, a lot of their creeks and esteros and riversides now use cocoa mats rolled up into logs and planted with plants, so that the root systems in these cocoa coir logs establish themselves. And the Japanese have found that this system is much stronger than concrete, because the concrete revetments or sides of the rivers crack every few years because of the strength of the water. And guess where the cocoa coir comes from? the Philippines.
The Coco what?
Coco Choir, C-O-I-R. I only know this because of my
C-O-I-R.
plants.
Coco Choir.
Yeah, Coco Choir.
Ah,
Yung
Yes.
parang,
interesting.
yeah, it looks like a
But this
parang,
is-
parang
yes.
walis, di ba? Parang mga fibers na ganyan.
They weave it into rope, and the rope is woven into like a mat. The mat is rolled into logs. The logs are then pre-planted with vetiver or long grass, and once that establishes itself in one season or two, the root systems is stronger than concrete. Of course, this is only one of the solutions that are NBS or nature-based solutions. There are others. But because the default with the DPWH is sheet piling or concrete, it's hard to get out of that mindset. And I'm not talking about all the corruption issues.
I was gonna say, baka mas mahal kasi, kaya yun yung favored way nila. Do you think it's that? Or kasi dahil mas mura yung, I mean, they're picking the more expensive.
Mas mura i-construct, mas mahirap i-audit. No, sir, kidding aside, how much room is given to designers like you when it comes to the brainstorming over the technologies used? Sino po nag-decide sa ganyan? I mean, go ahead.
That's right. We assist LGUs in the crafting of their comprehensive land use plans, either on localized areas, which are called planned unit developments, or in the overall LGU itself, town or city. And often when we call for workshops and stakeholder consultations, we tell the mayors and the city and the local planners that they should invite the DPWH. They reluctantly attend these meetings, but most of the time they send the lower ranking officials, engineers. And when we ask for sharing of data or information, there's little coming out from their side, and they always have to refer to their boss. Oh, we have to clear that with our district office. Or if it's something larger in terms of scope, which are like alignments of highways, alignments of major big infrastructure, sometimes they just say, keep quiet and say, we have to refer to Central, which is Manila. So they are very reluctant to share information. I have almost no place that I've gone where we did not have to force the DPWH officials to come and attend after being politely invited to the stakeholder meetings.
But have you ever encountered somebody, a government official, who has actually adopted any of these new technologies that is not gray infrastructure, just kahit isa lang?
Well, we introduced it during the fixing up of Boracay. We were part of the team, and we introduced green nature-based solutions to recovering the wetlands, the Balabag wetland. Instead of reverting to concrete, we used along the side of that wetland, which is opposite the mall. We gave DPWH a design for what's called the rain garden, which would absorb the stormwater that comes from the streets. And we fixed up the wetland to recover its ability to absorb rainwater. So if they are told that they should listen to proposals like this, there are some of the engineers will listen. And yes.
Who ordered them? I'm curious. Was it, I believe that Bora Rehab was under the DENR, the DOT, and the DILG. That was Secretary Año, Romulo Puyat, and Simatu, I think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our intervention was also sponsored by Aboitiz Foundation, and they wanted a more nature-based approach to the solution of that issue. There are engineers that are open. There are more progressive-minded engineers. Often they are not the top district engineers, or they are the secondary tier. And when we are lucky enough to just deal with them, and the other projects are being looked at by the more senior officials of the DPWH, we were able to introduce some of it. But we really should, because there's no way we can spend 1 billion pesos a day in something that doesn't work.
And I guess that's one of the main challenges here is that yung coordination po nasa LGU level, na madalas sila rin po ay not involved or not included in the actual execution of the project, no? Oo.
Yes,
So,
there are
hindi
lots
po ba ever kayo in-approach ng DPWH Central Office? I would imagine it would have been standardized by now at that level.
No, the DPWH generally marches to the sound of their own music. So, and they appear to be above anyone's influence. As planners, we like to espouse these things, but they hardly listen to anyone.
Okay.
Anyone at all. Save the ones who, I guess, approve the budgets for their projects, and they default. My guess is that the default is much easier. But let me say something about the localized flooding that I was stuck for 3 hours in Quezon City, Marikina. Yes, and this is where the problem of the localized area, it's not, the DPWH generally tends to the more national gray infrastructure, but the local infrastructure of drainage of roads, the local roads, one thing we don't have sa vocabulary ng ating gobyerno is maintenance. So even basic maintenance of roadside drains are never done. So all of these drains that you see on the side of the roads are often all clogged up. So we forget about them when it's dry weather, pero pagdating ng tag-ulan, syempre, it's all clogged up. So remember that movie, It? That person cannot even live in our drainage because there's no space.
So with regard to that, Quezon City, we spoke to the DRRMO. They said they are working to increase the capacity of their drainage system, barring, of course, another hyper-localized thunderstorm like the one over the weekend. Pero ang tanong ko, Paolo, is, okay, kung lalakihan natin yung capacity ng drains, I mean, ano ba yung computation doon? Like, the more buildings we build, should they be also kumbaga editing and tweaking the size of the culverts or the drainage systems?
You're right. The more buildings we build and the more areas that used to be green we cover with gray, which is concrete, then we have to increase the capacity of the whole area to absorb like a sponge. That's why they have sponge city strategies now. And this can be done by several NBS interventions. You plant more trees. Trees will absorb stormwater. You have more green areas. Parks will absorb stormwaters. You replace concrete culverts with what's called bioswales, which are green again, and rain gardens, which even cities in the United States and Europe are turning their street sides into permeable. We have planting and loose material that will absorb all of this water. But these are unheard of, and it's not in our national building code, nor is it in the playbook of the DPWH. So this needs to be introduced and institutionalized as the strategies that we should take for stormwater management.
Is it realistic also to build yung
cisterns?
Cisterns?
Yes,
underwater detention facility?
Yes. Now we're doing this for cities like Naga. We're recommending, because it's flood prone, identifying areas where we can build detention or retention ponds. These are in the uplands before it reaches the city. Also, when you get to the city, play fields and sports fields, like say in Manila, the UST football field, or the Ateneo fields, or even the UP Sunken Garden, these are what's called detention pond opportunities. During when there's no event, it's dry, but it is depressed, physically depressed. Pagdating ng ulan, mapupuno to ng tubig, and it retains the water. Of course, you need to have pumps later on, or actually just wait for the water to percolate down into the aquifer or the creek. But the system has to be organized as part of a stormwater management master plan or flood control master plan that crosses districts and boundaries and LGUs.
Yung po yung Oplan SpongeBob. Yun po yun, ano?
Yes.
Yun ang tawag nila.
We have to absorb the water because no matter what we do, it will take trillions of pesos to retrofit our stormwater culverts big enough to accept the climate change induced and man-induced problems of all the water coming down the ridge from the denuded forest. Okay, it's just we have to attack this. It's a cocktail of solutions. We have to do it all at once. But one thing we should not keep on doing is just pouring concrete over a problems and concrete that often fails and sometimes is even non-existent.
All right, thank you so much for weighing in. I mean, a lot of things to talk about. Sabi ko nga, this is a very interesting conversation because there are many layers to this problem. There's obviously the DPWH side, the COA side, the LGU side, the lawmaking side, and your side as an urban planner and designer.
Yes.
So good to
And
hear
also,
from you.
if I may, the Philippine Association of Landscape Architects, of whom I'm a member, has also issued a white paper for NBS solutions. And we're trying to circulate it. So this is, I'm also a landscape architect other than being a planner.
Okay, I hope you send it to us. So maybe we can discuss it another day.
Okay, maraming salamat po. Muli, we have Paulo Alcazaren joining us tonight on The Big Story. In other news, Senator Imee Marcos says she will oppose Justice Secretary Boying Remulla's potential appointment as the next ombudsman. In a press conference, the senator said Remulla is clearly disqualified due to existing pending cases before the same office he aspires to head. Marcos also alleged that his appointment is intended to target Vice President Sara Duterte and her allies by 2028. The Judicial and Bar Council concluded public interviews today for ombudsman applicants, with Remulla among those who appeared. During the session, Remulla said he has no plans to apply but wants to help combat corruption. He will also file a motion to resolve a pending complaint against him linked to Senator Marcos's case over former President Rodrigo Duterte's ICC arrest. The Justice Chief said he was simply doing his job, giving clearance to ensure Duterte's peaceful transport abroad. However, the president's sister maintained that Remulla's appointment is a political move. She also claimed that acting Ombudsman Dante Vargas was pressured to dismiss her complaint.
Imprison Inday Sara, all the Duterte allies, including myself, perhaps, to be harassed by cases with the new ombudsman. Plunder will be the name of the game, no bail, and imprisonment until 2028.
And we're pausing for another quick break, but right after that, Vice President Sara Duterte is looking forward to meeting with her predecessor, Leni Robredo, when she visits Camarines Sur soon. The details on that next. This is The Big Story on One News. Thanks for staying with us here on The Big Story. Vice President Sara Duterte said she intends to meet with her predecessor, now Naga City Mayor Leni Robredo, and other officials in Bicol. That is during the upcoming Peña Francia Festival in Naga, Camarines Sur. Speaking at a chance interview in The Hague, Netherlands, Duterte said she will attend the festival upon returning to the Philippines. She did not specify the purpose of the meetings, but said her visit will include sectoral gatherings addressing various issues in the Bicol region.
Hindi pa namin nagawa yung schedule namin, pero yes, gusto sana namin na ma-meet yung mga local government officials ng hindi lang ng Naga, ng entire Bicol region kung kakayanin ng schedule. But mainly, nandun kami to celebrate with the Bicolanos, to pray with the Bicolanos sa pinakamalaking festival nila, ang Peña Francia Festival.
And let's hit the pause button very quickly on our usual headlines, shall we? And talk about something just as important, clean public restrooms. Let's bring in Maynilad, which is all set to award the country's most stunning bathrooms yet again. Let's get the details straight from Maynilad's corporate marketing head. We have Mr. Ross Tuazan joining us today. Ross, good evening and thank you.
Good evening, Shawn and Gretchen. Happy to be here.
Okay. Tell us about this award that you've been giving. Dati kasi Golden Cubeta siya. Diba?
Correct.
Nagbago na.
Nagbago na. It's now a bit more Spanish sounding. Oro Inodoro.
Wow.
Correct.
Gusto mo yan?
Correct, Shawn. Actually, the Oro Inodoro Awards is an annual recognition program being organized by Maynilad beginning in 2017. And as you said, it was formerly known as the Golden Cubeta Awards. But just last year, we had to revive and revamp the awards program. And we had to introduce more categories so we can be more inclusive. At the same time, we had to tighten the auditing system. We evaluate all the entries. At the surface, our mission is, of course, to search for the best, the cleanest, the greenest, the most sustainably managed public restrooms. Because we believe, after all, that establishments can show their love and care for their patrons, customers, constituents by properly maintaining their restrooms. But just below the surface, we are also pushing our advocacy for proper wastewater management. And that is the wastewater or liquid waste, dumi, wiwi, or kahit anong ginamit na tubig, coming from households, commercial and industrial establishments. It should be properly collected. It should go through treatment and should be properly disposed to our waterways without creating pollution so that it doesn't impact the health of communities and the environment. So that's the advocacy behind the program.
You said you've made it more inclusive. How so?
Just last year, we had to expand the number of categories from 3 to 5. This year, we have the public offices and spaces category, so that includes government offices and taxpayer-funded infrastructure like sports complex, health centers, city halls. We also, second, schools and universities. So if you want to flex your school loyalty, you can nominate your, we were discussing this earlier, you can nominate your campus restroom, and we have our restaurants and cafes, hotels and malls, and lastly, gas stations and
Baka matalo ka
transport
naman
terminals.
Speaking of, no, kasi syempre nagko-construct din ako sa unit ko, no. The more you spend, the better it looks, right?
Correct.
So how did you make it equitable?
Well, that's not just their criteria.
Nyo?
See, their criteria is not just the aesthetics eh. May parang wastewater
maganda?
management.
Hindi subjective din yun?
Actually, talking about criteria, kasi 30% aesthetics. And we're not just considering superficial beauty, kasi the design has to be sensible and apt and based on the resources and the business being conducted by that establishment. It's something we take into account. Second, convenience and comfort. So the availability of creature comforts like ngayon, bidet, di ba? Running water, clean floors, yan. And lastly, ito pinakamalaki, 40%, a proper wastewater management. So that also includes green practices. For example, if they have the tools and technology that promote water conservation or even water recycling. So sino pinaka-creative ng mga restrooms in handling wastewater. And Shawn and Gretchen, may dagdag ko lang, how did we make it more inclusive? Starting last year, we introduced 2 new categories. Number 1, yung banyo para sa lahat. So we're looking for the most inclusive restrooms. So we are looking for restrooms that are deliberately designed to cater to the needs of what we call as marginalized groups. So for example, PWD, mothers who are pregnant or caring for small children, or even restrooms that we consider as gender neutral. So again, we're trying to be more inclusive. And last, special category, yung banyo ng bayan, so People's Choice Awards. So we're giving all netizens the opportunity to vote for their favorite public restroom in the country.
Question. What if yung nanalo sa online votes, let's say yung itong banyo na to, pero parang nung in-inspect nyo, di pala siya properly nagtitreat ng wastewater?
Sean, kaya we're really serious about our evaluation and auditing system. We valid entries. We reach out to all the establishments, and of course we check if they are receptive to receiving the award. We visit them, we inspect, we even ask for some regulatory permits, for example, authority to discharge to our waterways. We check if they have the right facilities in place, STPs, for example, and we also check for smaller establishments if they are connected to an established wastewater service provider like Maynilad. So we're being thorough here, kasi dyan nagkakalabanan. Yeah. Hindi lang pagandahan, kailangan functional at compliant.
What have your insights been? Because I believe that a toilet says a lot about a country's culture, right? When you go abroad, iba yung way nila na umihi or something. But sa Pilipino, may nakikita ba kayong parang pattern?
Sa totoo lang, kaya rin we have a program like this, an advocacy like this. Kanina narinig ko kayo, nagkukwentuhan kayo. Kasi ang daming nating horror stories sa mga public restrooms, hindi lamang sa ating mga eskwelahan, sa mga transport terminals, or even sa established institutions. It's something we want to address. Kasi sanitation, we have to respect human dignity through sanitation. And it's not something we can deprive the public. Kaya we should ensure that proper public facilities are in place.
Hindi nabibigyan ng pansin.
Hindi nabibigyan ng pansin. I don't have the local data, pero kasi globally, parang 6 out of 10 people have no access to safely managed sanitation. And that's an alarming number kasi that translates to 3.4 billion people ba?
Ross, ito nga yung gusto ko tanungin since the start, pero parang I'm sure waiting for the right time to bring it up.
Okay.
So ano bang get mo dapat yung mga dirty water, di ba usually sa bahay pupunta yan sa Poso Negro? If you are so lucky to have a Poso Negro, I understand it's a question of privilege then to even have that. Right? So, karaniwan, saan ba siya napupunta kung hindi ka naka-connect doon sa proper,
Paano
channels?
mo i-recycle?
Saan siya napupunta?
Oo nga, pag wala.
Kung wala, di ba?
Well, aapaw lang yan. And it can cause sickness, being exposed to human waste. At yun nga yung gusto nating pigilan. Kaya at the very least, may septic tank ka.
Sa ilalim lang na lupa, usually siguro yan.
Or may pipe lang na gano'n sa ilalim ng lupa? May ganung bang setup?
Yes.
Pero ang ganda nung tiles made in Italy.
Meron pa yung conveyance system papunta sa mga treatment facilities. Ito yung often taken for granted kasi it's something we don't see. Akala natin yung ginamit na tubig, tatapon lang sa bakuran natin and that's it. Pero kung yan, if we are not able to properly capture wastewater, it will go straight to our waterways. And, yun nga, alam naman natin yung state ng Pasig River, ng Laguna de Bay and its tributaries. Hindi lang solid waste ang problema natin, liquid waste din. It's something we have to address.
Who has the best bathrooms? I mean, in the history of the awards?
Siyempre, given na dyan, those who have well-resourced establishments like hotels and fancy
yung mga
restaurants.
social.
Yan, yung mga social. Pero ang gusto rin naming iidiin, kahit medyo kulang ang resources mo, there's a way to properly maintain facilities like this. If you have your customers, if you have your patrons, their welfare in mind, you'll find a way.
May mura naman.
May mura naman. Lagi mong nililinis. The flush works, may running water, mura lang naman yung hand washing.
Have you applied any of these models to the Maynilad offices?
Yes, we do.
Talaga?
Syempre.
Anong itsura nun?
Sana makapunta kayo sa head office. Kaka-renovate lang namin.
Ginto ba yan?
Pwede yung tulugan yung restroom namin.
Yung gintong kubeta.
Halos gintong kubeta na. Pwede yung tulugan yung restroom namin
pero pagka tinitingnan ko yung gintong kubeta, iniisip ko, hindi ba malamig yung upuan? Do you also weigh that in? Di ba meron ng mga automatic ngayon?
Oo.
May ganun na eh. Iba na yung technology ngayon.
Sana in the future, afford na namin yung ganyang klaseng
Ano
technology.
pa lang yung 30% aesthetics lang pasok yun, di ba?
Hindi ako
Yung
naiinis
ganun.
nga ako sa automatic eh. Mas gusto ko yung manual. Mas gusto ko yung komplikado.
Automatic yung bidet, mga ganyan.
Actually, may isang hot pot place ako napuntan sa BGC na gold talaga yung inidoro nila. Unfortunately, nandun siya sa 4th Strip at giniba na yun. So, it's no longer there. But it's really golden. However, hindi siya malinis.
Oo, tama. Mapapansin natin first world countries, ang gaganda ng mga restrooms. Mga tourist spots, ang gaganda ng mga restrooms. Hindi mo kinakailangan
In Europe,
Correct.
usually, ang
A
gaganda.
localized design. I will argue, yung mga banyo, nagulat ako. Thailand, Vietnam, sobrang linis. Kahit na nasa, I don't know, the middle of nowhere ka.
Japan.
Japan, of course. Pero parang, I think we expect that. Pero yung parang, I was shocked, Vietnam. They, in their public restrooms, the people remove their shoes, put on the parang spa slippers.
Talaga?
Yes.
Saan ka nagpunta?
Doon lang sa kalsada. Tapos may nakita ako slipper, sabi ko, ano to? Eh, syempre, hindi kami nag-uusap nung ate. Kala ko kailangan ko siya bayaran. Hindi, pumasok lang ako. Paglabas ko, may dalawang ladies na nagpapalit sila. And I felt so bad because I didn't know that I'm supposed to remove my outside shoes pala.
Oo. Tayo sa Pilipinas, tingin ko, kaya naman natin eh. We just need to invest on it. We just need to prioritize sanitation. Again, it's a question of privilege.
Or
Affordability.
communicate the value of investing
Correct.
in a bathroom to like your business, diba? Or your clientele, or in schools, diba?
Okay.
Tama.
So as a final word, Ross, paano ba mag-nominate ng banyo for the Oro Inodoro Awards?
Please visit and, well, better if you can follow our Facebook page, Kubeta PH. It's our main platform. You only need to comment the name and location of the establishment, post a photo. One photo will do, but if you want 2 or more, just keep comment on your comment. And do not forget to include the hashtag Oro Inodoro Awards 2025 so we can capture your comment as an entry.
Inodoro, no? Hindi
Inodoro, hindi Inidoro.
Inodoro.
Why the confusion?
Ano na lang, nasanay na lang yung ilang mga Pilipino.
So mali yung inidoro.
Yes, Inodoro is derived, Spanish derived.
Okay.
Sabi sa'yo eh. We're very Espanol today.
Oro is gold.
Gold.
Yeah.
Golden. So it's actually the same, di ba?
Yes.
The Spanish file.
Dami natin natutunan.
But I like the rolling R's.
Oro Inodoro. Okay, thank you so much for joining us tonight on The
Thank you
Big
for
Story.
having me.
So again, Kubeta PH, di ba? On Facebook, Ross Bontuazon, Corporate Marketing Head of Maynila. Maraming salamat.
And for our big picture tonight, we got actor Edu Manzano at it again. He takes another dig, pardon the pun, at flood control projects. Here is one of his more recent posts, which he titled "The Fast and Fallacious Manila Finest, Ride or Hide." He captioned this with "Brothers by flood, not by blood." And in the comment section, even added, quote, "Flood brothers spotted again. Not related, just related sa takas kotse." Manzano had several hashtags to his post too. Hashtag flooded by corruption. Hashtag stop the takas kotse. Hashtag the Philippines deserves better. Hashtag sobra na. Hashtag singilan na. And hashtag taxpayers unite. Edu posted this AI-generated content on the day the Bureau of Customs searched a property of the Discayas in Pasig. The BOC only found 2 of the 12 luxury cars it has identified in its warrant. But this just in, the BOC has confirmed that the Discayas have turned over 9 vehicles for inspection with a promise to turn in 3 more that is still undergoing repair.
Ooh.
In the Senate's Blue Ribbon hearing yesterday, so-called Queen of Contractors, Sara Discaya, confirmed owning 28 luxury vehicles in total. That was fast.
That was so fast. Breaking news at the end. Good on them for turning those vehicles in. Kanina pa hinahanap ng videos.
We'll pursue that tomorrow on Morning Matters. We'll talk to the lawyer of the Discayas. So, abangan po at 8 in the morning. In the meantime, dami natin natutunan today. We are in theme actually kasi we started with social media hygiene and ended up with Inodoro.
Actual hygiene. And a lot of hashtags care of Edu Manzano and his AI
linisin niyo na yung social media niyo. That's a big story this Tuesday.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
Thanks for watching and have a good night.